good evening and welcome to Ballad Games, where we're back at it with the One Ring, the Ballad of Bardings. Episode 3, I think, unless I've forgotten how to count, which is possible. It's not late here, but I haven't slept a lot. I will let my players introduce their wonderful selves and their characters, and then we'll get into it. Starting with Dan M, just because you're the opposite side of me.
Greetings. All right. Greetings and salutations. My name is Dan, and I am playing the High Elf of Riflendale by the name of Ithildir. And he is a captain. He's a bit of a sad elf at the moment. Alas, the weight of the shadow is definitely upon his troubled shoulders.
And he has a nice shiny new sword that couldn't be anything nefarious at all.
That's why it's wrapped up safe.
Where is the sword, by the way? On his person?
In saddlebags.
Just asking for
in
reasons.
Another person?
Yeah, in another person, perhaps an elf.
Falling down some cliffs after we got told we needed to keep it really safe.
Yeah.
That is true. He's dropped it once. Ever will it try to get back to its master?
No, I take it back to Rivendell.
You could have sent it along with that dwarf. Anyway, next up, Ben.
Hello, it's I. Long time no see. It's been 2 holidays since Coriolis, but I return with the wonderful Sigrun, daughter of Sigrid, a made-up character who I ran with and made up more from. So, yeah, we're going through the Mirkwood on the nice, safe road where there won't be any goblins or spiders, and everything's going to be fine. We'll be in Dale in a couple of days.
As we know, travel through Middle-earth is always safe, and roads never cause any problems.
And we have a very functional party full of exactly the right people for exactly the right job at exactly the right time.
And one of those jobs is running everywhere and not getting tired. Dan.
Hi, I'm Dan, and I'm playing Astanon, a Ranger of the North. He is of the bloodline of the Dunedain, so he's a bit like Aragon, I guess. And he runs everywhere, and he doesn't get tired, and doesn't understand the word fatigue. And he's generally, just looking out for Shadow. Not sure why he's ventured so far away from Arnor, or the ruins of Arnor, I should say. But here we are on the Old Forest Road. Been a long time since he's been this way.
He heard Aragorn recently came this way, and he's like, well, if he can do it.
That young whippersnapper, he's always causing problems, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. And lastly, but by no means leastly,
Well, by means leastly,
master.
he is quite leastly.
Well,
He's
yeah, sizably,
literally half the
perhaps
size.
leastly, but master of chips, Roger.
Hi, I'm Roger, and I'm playing Robin Burrows, the halfling, hobbit, even treasure hunter. I'll get my games right eventually. And yeah, I like cooking and being chirpy and generally annoying people
murdering things with pans.
Yeah.
when the mood strikes.
And you've done a good job of it so far. So last time you managed to finally cross the high pass, the Pass of Imladris, after also picking up a new, definitely not cursed item for Ithildir to carry about, and sending Loney on his way back to Rivendell with the body of his slain comrade and one of his friends to accompany him, descending down into the Carrick area just before the Anduin. You happened upon some Bjornings who gave you a place to stay for the night, and you came up with the rather spectacular plan of creating a ramshackled ferry.
We beat him in a rap battle,
Yeah.
cooked him dinner, and introduced them to capitalism.
Mm-hmm. And they seem to have taken it to heart, because they're definitely intending on keeping that ferry line open. That great feat achieved, you crossed over to the other side and are now making your way along the Old Forest Road through Mirkwood. Nothing can go wrong. You are, however, nearing-ish your destination of Dale. So, that's good news. So yeah, as you approach Mirkwood, it definitely doesn't feel like any of the forests you're used to. You've seen some cursed forests in your time in Eriador, and Sigrun, you may have even passed by Mirkwood before on your way to Eriador. It feels a damn sight darker now. There's just that sense of gloom hanging over it.
It's as though a shadow lies across the trees.
Yeah, probably. When you look at it, it's almost like the sun fades a little every time you look in the direction of Mirkwood as you travel down the road towards it. And there is sort of that sense of foreboding, of distrust and disgust that fills just the pit of your stomach any time you encounter anything to do with the shadow. But that is your chosen path.
Right, do we or do I already know anything about the Old Forest Road? Are there way houses along it that we should try to make for? Or is it go until you're tired or you don't feel safe anymore and make camp kind of job?
It's definitely more the latter nowadays, as people tend to avoid Mirkwood in general. There's a lot less travellers coming this way as well. Even dwarves have been shying away from travel lately, as you recently heard from both Elrond and Loni. So at this point, anything that possibly could provide shelter along the Old Forest Road is long abandoned.
Or providing shelter for someone that won't make us feel welcome.
Yeah, that's also possible. And there's generally also, there aren't really many people who live anywhere near there.
Right. Okay, fellows. Just a heads up for you then. The Old Forest Road is not as safe as it might sound. I know, Master Ithildir, that you're familiar with the woods of the West, but Mirkwood is something very different. This is a dark place, and strange creatures are abroad here. Once upon a time, there were places to rest along the road, but we're unlikely to find any hospitality. So once we start, we need to stick to the road and move as best we can. Try not to be distracted off to one side or the other. Once you set foot into Mirkwood, you might not come out again.
It doesn't sound like a very nice place.
No
Not
different to the
anymore.
cursed woodlands in Arnor, where the rangers dwell.
Clues in the name there, isn't it?
Astrodon's not really put off by this, because he makes his home in the north, which is Angmar and the Cursed Land. So,
Yep.
Yep.
There you
So
go.
he will remember a time when it was called the Greenwood. Maybe not when it was actually a Greenwood, but he will remember that it has a name. It was once called the Greenwood. So,
Wasn't that long ago, was it?
I don't know where
30,
we. in
40
time.
years?
fairly long ago for all of you.
I thought it was only sort of 30, 40 years before
That's about
us.
70,
Okay.
probably more.
Yeah.
That's been a while.
Bilbo has already had his
Yeah, that's true.
massively ancient hot birthday, and
Yeah.
is either in Dale somewhere or settled back in Rivendell. I think actually he's probably back in Rivendell by now. So yeah. So yeah, it has been long since any, but perhaps Ithildir might remember when it was called the Greenwood. The rest of you, yeah, Astanon has probably heard of it.
I've heard the name, but I've never seen it as the Greenwood.
No,
because I'm just old enough to have been a wee baby
yeah.
when it was the Greenwood. So there was probably some rangers talked about the Greenwood once upon a time.
Well,
Probably
that's
haven't
our
heard of either.
destination. So
All right, well,
There you
best
We
get
make
moving
forth with
then, I
purpose
suppose.
then.
Yeah.
So, Roger, you've got a pony. I've got a horse. Dan doesn't
Mhm.
need one because he runs everywhere.
I've got
Yeah.
bold and swift. Thank you very
Yeah.
much.
I have a horse.
Okay.
Don't worry, Jeffrey will get me there.
Okay. In
Won't tell him
that
about the giant spiders then.
Spiders the size of Jeffrey the pony. Yeah. In that case, whoever is in charge of reading the map again can
What's
roll
me,
for
isn't it?
travel. My favourite part so far.
Come on, travel roll. Don't fail me again. There we go.
Wow.
That's
That
a
looks
bit more
solid,
like
yeah.
it.
Great
great.
success.
Yep, yep.
The moment you step into the Mirkwood, this gloom settles in around you, and it's almost like what was day has been left behind outside, and you find yourself walking for hours and hours, and then after a while, for a couple of days on end, just through a mix of perpetual gloomy twilight and then pitch black. But you do make fairly good progress initially, and the Old Forest Road so far does seem to be fairly clear of any obstruction. It's only sort of when you're a third of the way in that
Lulled us
something
into a
happens.
false sense of security.
Yeah, it reeled you in, and now, well, I suppose I'll roll that, then we'll find out.
Stay on the path.
And now, the lookout. Who's on lookout duty?
That'll be the sad elf, I think.
Ithildir.
Yes,
Roll
that
me
would be that
1d12, and we'll find out what your elven eyes see. Known to elves as eyes.
Was it roll / d12?
Forward
slash
roll.
roll.
/ roll. Yeah. Bam.
12.
Wow.
That's either really good or really bad.
I think that's good. I think.
That is...
That is the best possible outcome, I
I
believe.
mean,
That's
technically I was meant to make you roll ill-favoured, but because of your great success, I'll go with... No, sure. Can you give me an awareness roll as you wander through the gloom?
If I recall correctly, that's
Am I-
you see something really freaking cool on the way, and everybody gets like a pat on the back and a
Yeah,
special badge.
yeah.
Was I still miserable?
You well, we'll see.
No, I don't think you were because we stopped.
We stopped and rested up.
the
You should have
Bardings
lost
and
your
rested up.
miserable.
Yeah, didn't we spend some fellowship points to
Yeah,
make
we
you
did.
not
You spent
miserable?
some fellowship, especially to...
We did. We spent it on
recover
Dan.
Ithildir's hope a little bit. Yeah, you're no longer miserable, as far as I know.
Oh.
Let's see. Your hope is 8. Your shadow is 4. Your shadow is 2.
Good roll,
You
though.
definitely should not be miserable. There you go.
You fluffed it though.
You haven't even
unfortunately.
rolled yet.
No.
Not even I would have passed out with a 10 and a 13.
far as I can tell, you're not even weary anymore. And your wounds, as a couple of days have passed, are down to 1. So
Hey, almost fully healed.
you can almost hold the sword again. For a fleeting moment, you spot this amazing glowing light coming from somewhere within the wood, and it is the kind of glow that you know all too well. It's the kind of glowing light that normally you would look up to the sky and see, but in this case it was coming from somewhere within the depths of the wood. But before you could turn everyone's eyes towards it and get a good glimpse of it yourself, it disappeared somewhere amongst the trees. So, alas, you don't all regain 1 hope, but you do not pick up any fatigue.
Or get murdered by spiders, which is also good.
Or get murdered by spiders, which was also an option. I mean, I might throw that in there anyway. Sigrun, unless you want to stop and look around in the middle of the forest,
No,
lead everyone onwards.
no. I think it's kind of a matter of importance that we get where we're going.
This time.
Oh, now we can do it.
Yeah,
It's
you
all
really
downhill
don't like
here.
this forest, do you?
She's close to home.
Further from danger.
Yep. So you spend a couple of days passing the mountains of Mirkwood to your left. The trees have half covered it, but you can just sort of make it out sticking up above the gloom. It almost seems as dark and foreboding as what you imagine the mountains of Angmar or the horrible rocky crags of Mordor seem like. But this perpetual gloom continues on for another couple of days as you make good time along the road. In some places the trees have encroached a little, but so far, aside from some strange chattering noises in the distance in the trees and the odd sound that you're pretty sure is a goblin, you have remained unmolested by any shadow creatures, which is always good.
Who's in trouble this time?
We'll see. Okay, I'm going to do something else with this one because it's a 1.
We're all in trouble.
Oh,
No.
yeah.
Ithildir, can you give me an awareness roll? Just because you're on lookout duty. We'll find out how
'cause that's
well
been so
you're
well.
looking out.
I wish to spend a point of hope and support him.
Yeah, perfect.
What does that mean? Do I
It means
add a
you-
hope?
You get an extra
You
dice.
two
can
extra
add,
D6.
Yeah, you can add 2d6.
Yeah, because you're my
Two
fellowship. You're my fellowship focus. So, yeah,
Does
and 2
that
more.
work? Hey! No! Oh,
Yeah,
still
it
have that
did.
thing though.
I mean, you
Yeah,
passed.
that doesn't count though because it was a
Oh, good.
favoured roll. So
Yep, you had a 10 on the other dice, so
yeah, that's pretty good. It is just
Result.
a normal success though, so I will say, rather than being completely startled, you hear the creak of a bow before
Is it
you
Elven?
turn and spot 2 elves standing by the roadside, one of whom has a bow pointed at you.
is it just Dan that spotted them, or have the rest of us also?
No, you have all noticed them by now, because of Dan's wonderful success.
Hello. I'll give them a cheery wave.
And as he does that, Astanon stands between him and the with his a hand down to his sort of blade.
The two elves remain quiet for a moment and sort of stare at you. They're clearly also a long way from where you would expect to find them, as they are elves from
They're from
all the way up
as
here.
I say, they're from Frandrels.
Frandrels.
Yeah. So a long way from the King's Hall.
Good day, friends. You're a long way from home.
As it would appear you. What brings such a collection of travellers along the old forest road?
I make for Dale. These are my travelling companions.
I will nod politely.
Kind of lean round the ranger and give them another wave, and then duck back behind the ranger.
Il Marie, well met.
I'm Sigrun, daughter of Sigrid.
Just thinking.
My uncle the king has passed and we attend his funeral.
Thildir, in the meantime, can you give me an insight roll?
Angry Death Sword.
I don't like having to make all these. I don't have any insight.
Good, isn't it? Roll for it anyway. That's it.
Oh, I have to roll for it anyway.
Yeah. They introduce themselves
oh,
to
roll
you
again,
all
yeah.
as
Yeah.
Idril and Niniel.
No.
And
Seven.
they turn to Sigrund and say, "What news is there from Dale of the king's death?"
Very little. We were away in the west, and I'm only just on our way there now. It's been several years since last I was at the city.
Then how come you to know of such things?
Well, surely
Moving
you've
for everyone.
heard that the folk of Dale sometimes receive messages on the wind through the voice of birds.
That does not seem like the kind of trait that the race of men would possess.
And most do not. But there are a few in my line who do, and while I do not share their gift, I can read the signs sure enough of one that knows how to speak with them.
Thildir, you're pretty certain that these elves mean to kill you all. Well, it is strange for folk such as yourself to travel down this road so early in the season. The
Why
snows
do I
have
think
not
they're
yet
gonna kill
cleared.
it?
You have just this strong feeling that they want to kill you.
Then I will. What? Me or everyone?
You've got a feeling that they
Definitely
want to
you.
kill all of us.
Yeah,
Definitely you.
Okay.
definitely.
Then
But probably all of you, everyone you know.
I will draw my sword.
Ithildir, why
And
is
in
this
Elvish-
becoming heated?
In Elvish, so if you don't speak Elvish, in Elvish I will say, cousins, why do you seek ill upon us?
The first one who has the bow out trains it on you, and you see Niniel reach for daggers by her side, and they look at you and say, "We mean you no ill. We just questioned the travels of your group upon this road, which has otherwise been free from anyone save roaming goblins for a very long time."
And we are happy to
Travellers.
answer with courtesy,
I
but...
think they're speaking
I
Elvish.
think they're speaking
We're
Elvish.
speaking
Oh, that's true. Of
Elvish.
course, they are speaking Elvish, aren't they? My bad.
As a
shut up then.
Dunedain, would I speak Elvish?
I think they're actually not. They're saying it to everyone because they're not sure what's going on here. They do seem very suspicious now and tense.
Theodore, sheath your blade.
No
There's a
need for that.
threatening-
Surely we can resolve this over dinner or something.
Which blade did he draw?
That's up to
My
Hilda.
own. My own. I will say in the human tongue, there is a threatening air about my cousins here, and
Can I try to roll
See
insight to
us
see if
do
I can
will.
feel as he
Feel
says that?
will.
Like,
Yeah, sure, you can. And then after that, I'm afraid Ithildir, I think Dread is
extraordinary success. Oh,
Yeah.
do they mean us any harm? Is it body language? I know they're elves, so they're not.
It does. They do seem suspicious about you, but that's, to be fair, for Astanon,
elves.
that seems fair for people
I mean, Aston
suddenly
looks sketchy
traveling.
anyway.
Well, it's also just as they've explained, and as you know yourselves, this is not the kind of travel you'd have undertaken this early in the year, if it wasn't entirely necessary, because you crossed the high pass when the snow was still far from melting, basically, and you've come down in sort of the early onset of spring now, when the Anduin is at its highest flow as well, with the snow melt starting to come loose and come down, and the whole Mirkwood seems to be bathed in constant rain anyway. So it does seem a little out of place for them as much as for yourself. But you
But I'm
could obviously
certainly
ask
not-
the question, why are they there? But
I'm certainly not getting the intent that
they don't appear
Isildur.
to be planning anything malicious as far as you can tell. Isildur, I think, wait,
What can I use my extra successes for? Can I use them to
you
Gain
Trying-
insight, I think.
yeah,
like
you
calm
can
Isildur in
use-
some way, or maybe even use some insight on
you
Isildur
can
to see?
use them to cancel a failure, score an additional success, gain insight, go quietly, make haste, or widen your influence. I will say I'm gonna make Isildur roll. I think it's Valor. So you could help with that.
Yes, I will help with that. And in doing so, what I say, I'm sort of going to Isildur, and I was like, I'm not sure what has gripped you, friend, but please, sheath your blade. They mean us no harm.
So
We
if
don't
I
get
roll
a-
my
I mean,
valor, do I
Yep, it
add a
is
bonus
Valor.
dice?
Get an extra
um,
dice.
you can roll your Valor dice, and either Astanon could try
Support from your
and
companion?
give you some support in that, or you could hold off and try and cancel a failure. Though
I'll
I
take
will
the
say,
support from
any
companion.
shadow he picks up from the failure will remain
I will
if you
support him.
cancel it.
I'm trying to support him because I'm trying to basically sort of impress upon him that they're not here to harm us in any way, shape, or form.
Yep. So a
Bloody
Valor.
sword. Feck. That was awful.
my god!
Let's
Wow.
have a look at that. Oh, that's
Oh, that is a
Wow.
horrendously
Yeah.
bad roll.
I mean,
yeah,
you deserve your
Wow.
shadow at this point.
yeah.
Why do we bring this fella along? He's just always miserable.
You, Isildir, you pick up 2 points of shadow, and Despite Astenon's warnings, you still feel convinced that these elves in front of you mean you harm. There's just an entire sense of dread around you now.
Yeah,
now
we'll
that's
see.
Like the entire area almost seems
He's definitely
flooded.
miserable again.
Flooded with
Christ.
It's you soon, right?
No, it's just been you.
yeah, you left
fine, we-
just after you.
We got 10 months to go until you. We got our fellowship point left, haven't we? Somewhere.
I think we've got more than one.
Fine.
Someone check the bottom of the
It'll be
biscuit
fine.
barrel. See if we've got a fellowship point.
We've
for
got
him.
5. We've got 5 fellowship points left.
Indril still pointing the bow at you.
Why don't you lower your
Looks on
bow and it
and
might make him
says-
feel a bit calmer? I'll say to the wood elves.
I will lower my bow if my cousin lowers his blade.
Oh, come on, boys. You're both pretty. There's no need for that. Look, you came out with the bow up first. You put the bow away first. He'll put the sword away second. Just like he got the sword out. Don't tell me either that you
Someone-
can't hit him in the eye with a bow at this kind of range before he could get his sword anywhere near you.
Someone will have to persuade them.
What do we use for that?
I'm swayed.
I'm okay
Yeah,
at
definitely
that.
not me.
I mean, I've got 2 and favoured.
Go for it, mate.
Yeah,
I've got
sure.
3 non-favoured and my target number is 18. So much as I'd love to be able to have a go, I don't think it's going to happen.
Let's be a Gandalf.
Hey!
Great success. Can I use that to try and influence the miserable elf?
I will say yes. You can use your extra success
To cancel his failure?
to make him roll insight again.
Oh god.
Dan,
However,
I'm supporting you once again with
Idril-
hope.
Idril
gives him
and
2 extra dice.
Niniel look at each other and look at the rest of you. And Idril slowly lowers his bow. Dan, as far as you can tell, something it still doesn't. Ithildir still feels like there's a threat here.
You got to roll an insight check, but I'm giving you 2 extra dice. I believe in you. You haven't passed the, you haven't passed the roll yet.
No. And I'm
Also
miserable.
miserable now, so it might be difficult. Ooh.
Oh god.
Yeah. Overwhelming sense of dread. Perhaps where there are 2 elves planning to murder you all, there might be more.
I'll lever my sword at one of them, pointing, and say, perhaps maybe you should summon your friends hidden in the woods.
They
Why?
look at each other slowly and then look at the rest of you and say, "We are alone."
Why don't we settle this matter over a nice supper?
Better yet, why don't we settle this matter by going our separate ways now?
I think that might be wise.
Friends, we mean you no ill will. We are simply travelers on the path, and the shadow of this place darkens even the most caring heart.
It
We
would
would-
seem our cousin's heart is dark indeed, if this is all the hospitality that comes from Imladris these days.
Would you like a cake? I'll stay producing a little one from my pocket.
We have rations of our own.
Oh, I've got some lembas
And-
bread too.
We eat what we hunt ourselves. However, we'll leave you with a warning that these trails are often used by goblins of late.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you have safe travels too.
I would wish you the same. However, I do hope we do not meet again.
As do I.
And they dissipate back into Mirkwood.
What was that
leaving the-
about? What's going on with
I
you?
will sheathe my blade.
Got a bit of a temper on you, haven't you?
It was a foul air.
Can I make
Wow,
an
those
insight
two.
roll to work out what the hell's going on with him?
You may. Ooh. A great success. I will say for the success part, the moment the elves fade away into Mirkwood,
Bear in mind I have shadow law as well. So.
you notice that Athilde's face sort of, which had clenched almost to the point that it was almost unelven and very noticeable, sort of relaxes a little bit, and Athilde feels that overwhelming sense of dread and danger about him dissipating quickly. Sigrun, you can literally see his face change. Not quite Bilbo trying to get at the ring kind of style, but there was a shadow over it that leaves now.
Shadows reach deep
Yes,
into your
it
soul,
was.
friend Ithilde.
You also still have one success that you can spend.
From those elves.
Not from them.
Shadows from those elves.
It wasn't, my friend. I think you'll find that you carry that shadow with you. And it is not your own.
I have fought the shadow longer than you can imagine. Do not tell me that the shadow lies upon my brow.
I mean, Athilde here, it does seem a bit like, what's up with these lot suddenly turning on you now?
Yeah.
When
Dare they?
all you were trying
That's
to do was
deserved to be
protect
sacrificed.
everyone.
I
I
mean,
see that the pride of the Eldar lingers on.
I eat the cake I was holding.
You regain one.
Just while
hope
this
now.
is all going on, the Hobbit's just like,
Using obviously
Is
Shadow
it
Law
one
Warden.
of the Bjorning cakes?
yeah, it's a honey cake, yeah.
Ooh, let me see, because they actually have special rules.
Oh, really?
Ooh, yeah, that's why I gave you them.
I mean, I've got a whole jar of their honey. I just had a cake.
Yeah. Twice baked honey cakes. You each time.
Yeah, they're actually an ability.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, my pockets are stuffed with the cakes.
I will say you can either raise the company's fellowship by 1, or you can reduce your own fatigue by 1.
I will raise the company's fellowship by 1. As they suddenly all like hobbits. Suddenly all the aggression
Hand
kind
out.
of wears off when the hobbit starts munching.
While Sigrun was talking to Hilda about the shadow, obviously both me and Ben have obviously Shadow Warden.
Yeah.
Was the sword doing anything when he's like that darkness?
I would say you will have to examine the sword.
Insight?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
awareness.
or awareness, or yeah.
Let's do awareness. So it was kind of like I'm keeping an eye out the corner of
Yeah.
my eye to see if anything happens while he's talking to him about the shadow.
So it's sort of also in the moment as they leave, and
Yeah.
Sigrun sees the shadow kind of drop away from Athilde's face.
Oh
I'm
man.
gonna use that extra success to cancel that failure.
Lovely.
There you go. Astanon, what you notice is you hadn't really spotted it before, but like the saddlebag carrying the sword almost seems heavier up until the moment that the tension breaks and moves away. It almost feels like, even from, you're not standing right next to it, but you can almost feel a physical weight to it. And that too fades as the tension breaks across. Fildir, you're left kind of confused as to why everyone is making such a problem of the fact that you were trying to protect them all.
My friend, if I may.
Mr. Burrows is right. We should sit and eat. We have a few more days before we hit the marshes, and then it is a simple river ride up to Erebor.
Yeah, if you want to rest here in the manner of being able to spend fellowship points, I'll let you.
That sounds sensible. In doing so, however, can I roll a stealth check when we're all resting late in the evening? Because I'm going to try and remove the sword from the saddlebags.
This is a terrible plan.
Without me noticing?
That's generally the idea.
But it's so Lord of the Rings.
You can.
I mean, we've seen how good his awareness rolls are, so we should be alright.
If you want a Fildir, you can roll awareness.
No, I don't want to.
Oh my god.
It's a Gandalf.
Oh no, yeah.
I'm keeping watch, so he's got plenty of time to nick it. Probably be doing me a favour, let's face it.
That's Astanon's actual overall plan.
Yeah,
Oh,
right
it'd
up
be
until
really helpful
Astonon's
having
the
a
next
burglar.
one to go all sketchy.
Wow. Astanon, as you pick it up, it's almost cold and your hands start to get a little frostbitten from touching it. And then you lift it out and it sort of weighs a lot more than you were expecting.
Yeah, and I'm going to roll it up in one of those sort of classic-y sort of like bedroll
Yeah.
things, so I'm not touching it directly.
Can you give me a Valor roll as well to see if you can
indeed.
roll it up and cast it aside?
Yeah. We're good.
Yeah. So rather than 2, you'll still pick up 1 shadow.
That's fine. One temporary
But
shadow.
you feel what is happening, and you roll it up quickly in a blanket, and yeah. What do you do with it after that? Once you've
How far away from the river are we at this point?
pretty
I
far,
think.
Couple
yeah.
of days.
You could
Please don't throw it
potentially
in the river.
try and bury it here somewhere
No,
along
don't do
the
that.
road.
That's also a terrible idea. Literally carrying it is
Which
the least worst plan.
does appear to be what the elves had tried to do. So
Yeah, I mean, Astanon's regretting us ever finding it.
you got some gems as well. I mean,
Hey, just give it to the Hobbit.
you
I mean, it's not
use
the
it
worst
as like
plan.
carving.
I'm just saying, I get extra resistance to shadow.
That's kind of what hobbits are for.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that if Theodore ever thinks that one of us has got the sword, he might try to kill whoever's got it, and the Hobbit probably doesn't stand much chance if the elf tries to chop him into little pieces.
Yeah, that's
I mean-
accurate.
As long as there's a proximity here, I think both Sigrun and Astanon will realise that with their shadow law, it's going to influence Fildir.
Yeah. So, obviously,
It's
I
a
don't know.
Kinslayer's blade made by the Noldor elves. That's what did it. It wants him to kill his kin. It's what
Yeah.
it's for.
So,
And if they'd
Aston-
taken it, they'd be doing it.
yeah, Astanon is going to keep hold of it for now, but keep it like properly disguised, like it's actually a proper bedroll. He's put some straps around it as well, and he's going to try and keep as much distance between him and Athildir as possible. He's almost like, I'm scouting, and like sort of staying at the back and sort of moving far and wide and away from.
You're off hunting.
I'm off hunting, and I'm just looking for a decent opportunity to dispose of said sword.
Do not dispose of the bloody sword.
Oh, yeah.
Whilst you have it on your person, though, you stick it away in your pack as deep as you can bury it. There's a weight that you're almost continuously aware of as long as it's on you, though.
Okay, that's fine.
Aston,
Okay.
don't dispose of it, whatever you do, because that thing has to go back to Elrond and Gandalf. It's got to be destroyed.
The longer it is in the presence of a Theodir, the more danger we are all in.
Yes, but if we put it anywhere else, that kind of evil in the Mirkwood will be found and will be delivered. And if it ends up in the halls of the Elven King, the Wood Elves are not as sturdy a folk as the High Elves.
Sturdy. You saw a Theodore. He was
I
ready
did.
to run them through.
Just don't lick it.
We will not make a
Good
decision
advice.
now. For
It
now,
cannot be trusted to elves or men. But if it must be trusted to somebody, it's better that it be us until we can deliver it to one who has the power to break it.
what about the Dwarfs of Erebor?
Aye, they might be able to, but they are notoriously cagey about breaking things of value.
Well, if we tell them it's Elven, they might
Good
enjoy
plan.
smashing it.
Or
They'll
they
be all
might try
over
and
that.
sell it.
Recently, our relations with Thranduil have really improved, so we'll send him this as a gift. Thanks for returning.
Hey, look, it's Mirkwood's problem at that point.
Hey,
now-
at that point, if Thranduil's got a kinslayer, then that deals with a whole different set of problems.
Yeah, true.
Right now,
There'll
it's
be
just trying to keep it
Sigrun
out of my
turning
hands.
up in Rivendell going, so I heard you were expecting an elf. Unfortunately,
But yeah, so for now, I'm just going to try and keep as much distance because I can see it's weighing heavily on my friend.
Yeah.
And here's my fellowship focus, which means we are
Okay.
close in some way.
Aw. And you can spend your fellowship points, your group fellowship point.
Which we now have 6 of, thanks to the honey cake,
Yep. Which,
to regain some hope. Is that what it is? Is that what it does?
yeah.
You can
have
spend
7,
one for
so
one.
you're on 8 now.
Oh, an
So
8
you
now.
can
So
Yeah.
how many
spend it 1
hope
for 1.
does our elf need to not be miserable?
Let's.
All
have a
right,
look.
let's spend 2 more to make the elf not miserable.
Yeah. So it's on 4 shadow points and 4 hope. So a couple of hope points would probably.
Okay, I'm taking us down to 6 fellowship. So, Mr. Theodir, I think it's probably because we spend a night of a bit of merriment, and maybe the proximity of the sword being taken away from him means he's able to enjoy our gathering more than
There
usual.
you go.
I'll give him a slap-up meal.
Are there chips?
I'll remind you, Ithildir, if you want, you can turn those 4 shadow points into 1 single shadow scar, which is a single shadow point.
Okay, right. So how
and then
many
one
more
shadow
ever?
point after that, and you're weary, miserable, grumpy, whichever one it is.
So how many shadow points am I down?
No, you
No,
don't
you've
lose
still
shadow
got your
points,
4
you
shadow
gain-
points, but you've got 6 hope now. So you're still just sort of above
No spending hope for
miserable.
you, my friend.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I'll spend my hope for you.
We're all hoping for you.
Did you already change it?
Yes, yeah.
Oh.
I also got rid of miserable.
Trying and everything.
Kind like that. So yeah, the next day after some merriment, you set off through the gloom. Astanon, the surroundings don't weigh quite as heavy on you anymore as the pack at your back does.
Excellent. But yes, I am keeping my distance somewhat from a Theodir.
Yeah. Right, it's map reading time.
Hey.
Yes, there you go. Doing really well on the map reading this week.
Makes a nice change, doesn't it?
I will say you make it to the edge. Yeah, sort of there-ish. The edge of Mirkwood.
Come on, he must have prepped a scene with spiders for us to fight. He really wants to use it.
I did, but I'm not gonna. Too kind. Also,
rolled
kind
too
of
well.
want you to get to Dale at some point. So that would be 3 to 4 is the lookouts. Sod it. I'll re-roll that.
We haven't had one on
Not more
hunting yet.
Nope. It's definitely a Thildir. It's just being targeted
damn it.
this week.
It's alright, I had to do them all last week.
Yeah. That's how it works.
Right, so
There's
am
a
I rolling?
designated event roller
Awareness.
every year. Yeah, 1d12
awareness,
to
okay.
start with.
Oh
to
yeah, one
see
do
what
Yeah.
horrible. Technically, 2d12s will pick the lowest because you're in Darklands,
Oh, 2d12.
as Mirkwood is notoriously dangerous.
Those elves have come back.
Oh, I did that wrong.
/roll.
Oh, is it / roll?
Yeah,
Yeah.
/ roll
Yeah.
2d12.
The /R is the command, and then
Got you.
the 2d6 is what you're rolling.
Well, I was,
7 and a 6.
That's not that
Yeah,
bad.
right in the middle of the park.
That's all right. So yeah. Okie dokie. Ithildir still sort of sensing a lingering feeling of dread nearby. You kind of find yourself turning ever towards the forests where Idril and Ninil disappeared into. So much so that at a given point your feet kind of begin to stumble that direction as you're looking that way. Can you give me an awareness roll?
I mean, I could try.
We get him some reins, one of those little harnesses.
No. No.
Oh, for the love of
no.
Christ!
God!
How, Dan? How?
It's just the bestest little
dice
elf,
gods,
aren't you?
the dice gods are so much against me tonight. Oh, wow.
Curse of the Noldor betrays
Yeah.
us. Yet it
You
Wow. Seriously. Wow.
double
You
Sauron.
hear Ithildir, you hear a sound within the forest as your feet sort of list that way and your eyes are scanning the trees. And before you even realize it, like, your mind immediately flashes to these two elves planning to ambush you, and you give chase after them into the woods, not even ever having seen where the sound comes from. But it takes the party the better part of a day to draw you back to the road and find your way back.
You get some treats. Come on, Theodore. Come on, Theodore.
Yeah.
We're
You
not
have
angry.
to chase him into the Mirkwood. You all pick up 2 fatigue, and Ithildir, you pick up an extra fatigue, so 3 in total. And there's a day added to your journey as you spend a day on the edge of Mirkwood with Ithildir chasing magical, not there
Dog chasing cars.
elves trying to ambush you.
Is this special fatigue? Am I taking it as well?
No, it's normal, just normal event fatigue. So
Okay, cool.
damn those rangers.
We're not angry. We're disappointed.
Ithildir initially can't hear you because it's running through the forest with
The
a
most
sword.
hilarious thing is like this 2,000-year-old elf that's like,
I am also now weary.
Drop something. Take your hat off. Put it on the horse.
I mean,
it's
If
been
I-
a grim evening.
if I can drive a single elf
The
to
dark
the
man.
west, then at least the part of the shadow will have succeeded.
Hope is lost.
Yeah. You feel particularly weary as they drag you back onto the road, and your feet feel heavy and almost don't quite glide across
I'm gonna have bloody
The,
words with Elrond. I'll tell you that for nothing.
the broken old forest road as you move out of the Mirkwood and find the day ahead of you not quite as bright as you would have liked, as there's still rain pouring down from the sky. You are, however, approaching the river running.
Good. Are there any boats?
You can either give me an awareness test or possibly law, or depending on what you know, or
Which way is the river
where you would imagine.
running? I'm guessing away from Dale.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Yeah, it's coming down from the mountains. So it comes down from the Grey Mountain. Well, it's initially not the river running that comes down from the Grey Mountains. But
And
it
how fast
goes
flowing
into
is
that.
it?
And Dale, at the moment, it appears to be fairly fast, much like the Anduin was. There's a lot of rain as well at the moment, so the river is quite high, and it appears to be flowing fast.
Hey.
Paddling against that might not be the best plan.
There's an awareness check to see if I can work out a way that we can get upriver quicker.
Walking.
Wandering the marshes, you sort of eventually crest a little hill, and in the distance you spot a group of little Barding farmsteads, and there appears to be a village there.
Ooh, that sounds like it might be a good place to have a bit of a
It
kip.
is, unfortunately, on the opposite side of the river running.
I could probably build a barge to get across. Isn't that difficult? As long as someone can chop me down some
it's not
trees.
quite as massive as the Anduin, which I feel like is probably the equivalent of like the Ruhr River or something, which you just ferried across. So, meh. This should be a breeze.
Should be. I mean, how wide is it?
It's a fairly substantial river, but there appear to be some places you could see that you could ford it, probably.
Well, poke him with a stick. Make sure it's not too deep.
Yeah.
Yep. Astanon takes
So-
particular care to make sure the Hobbit gets across
Whoever
safely.
wants to go first
I would suggest
can go
Astanon
with-
would go first.
Yeah. Can probably go with athletics, I will say.
That's long though.
Oh my word! I get swept away. It's a tear.
Your foot catches on some rocks and you
Our
slip
rolls,
and
mainly my rolls, have been pretty shocking.
They have been.
cut yourself and stumble across slightly bloodied, taking 2 endurance damage.
Outrageous.
But because of that as well, the rest of you, if you want to cross, will also have to roll athletics, because Astanon didn't really manage to find a clear path whilst falling on his butt.
I mean, can I use my method of using a stick to determine where's safe?
You can, but you're still gonna roll.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can do it.
Apparently so.
Yeah. Sigrun manages to get across okay.
But with that
You can
extraordinary
also-
success, I would like to get
you
the
can
other 2 across as well.
Well, you can save the 2 successes and see if they fail their rolls first.
When I fail, yes.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can spend that one.
I think I might tow him,
Just put them on your shoulder.
sit him in a pot, and he can just be
Pop me
pulled
on
along
Jeffrey
the
and
pot.
lead the pony across.
Yeah, probably. And the Thildir, only slightly weary.
Please don't make me roll anything.
You've got to roll
Yeah,
athletics.
Go on.
At least if you fail, I've got the rescue there.
I will say you've all been very annoying and haven't rolled many Saurons today.
He just rolled a double
All at the
Sauron,
same time.
which caused him to run off into the woodlands for a day.
Yeah, but
Okay,
mean,
I am
I
weary
wanted
doing
more
this.
Saurons because you're only at 10 eye awareness at the moment.
He's got to get us to 12. Oh, my word. All right, there we go. There's the other success that I had banked then.
Yeah, okay. So everyone eventually manages to get across.
I don't see what the trouble was, really.
And you can all
Wasn't
pick
that
up a
hard?
fatigue from that crossing because it didn't go well. But
Got more fatigue.
you got there in the end. And Sigrun basically had to drag Ithildir and Robin across.
I'll just go back and get our stuff, shall I?
Astanon tended to his leg.
Hop back over and get the
Taking my
luggage.
armor off.
Ahead of you, you see the Barding farms just beyond the marshland into the fields.
They might be able to put us up for the night. That might be a nice place to rest and on a road in the
I
forest.
mean, naturally, assuming that you're going to approach, you spot two people who also see you and sort of start moving down from the farm to the gate to see what you're about.
I
Oh,
will
there.
chirpily start walking towards them.
Calm yourself, Master Hobbit.
Well, the woman Frida speaks up first and says, "Well, hello. You don't get many visitors along the roads at this time of year."
No, we're on our way to Dale, and we just managed to cross the river and thought we'd stop by and say hello.
And a man runs up behind her, Arden, and starts whispering in her ear, and they exchange looks.
Can I try and
then
listen to what
look
he's
at-
whispering?
Yeah, you can if you want.
Would that be awareness?
Also, if Thildir's gotten a reroll, you might you might want to save that. Yeah, you can roll awareness.
I'll give it a go.
Hey,
You
Is
Hang
it
on,
helmet
look at-
time? Is it helmet time?
you hear them saying something about a princess of Dale.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
That's her.
To each other, and
I'll say
Frida
without even
looks
pretending that I heard
wide-eyed
them.
at Sigrun.
Yeah, that's her. That's why we're going to Dale.
Well, we definitely didn't expect such royal company at this. Please, come
We're
in.
not good folk. We are just travellers like any other on the road to Dale at this time.
I'd be happy to cook you dinner.
No, surely we should cook you dinner. It's almost ready. In fact, please join us. There. And yeah,
We could pad it out with some chips if you like.
gladly.
Hey, food bribery
Nasty
works a lot, okay?
chips. Bardings don't eat chips.
Has gotten us out of the future.
That's why I left.
They just prefer their food raw and wriggling.
Yeah. No, they seem more than eager for you to join them, and they're almost fawning now that they've spotted Sigrun amongst you. And
Keen eye.
as you're walking, well, if you follow them, are you following them?
Yep, quite happily.
As you're walking along, Frida says, "Nasty business with Bane, wasn't it? I mean, I imagine your uncle, your..."
Aye, that's why we travel north. We've not had much news. It was but a brief message saying that he had passed. Do you know any further than this?
Well, I'm afraid all news out of Dale of late is ill news. They
There is news
It's
worse than the death
not-
of the king.
not my place to speak of such things, though. Obviously,
Please, good wife, feel free. You can
I mean-
speak freely in my presence.
she seems very eager to tell you, whether it's her place or not. And she says, "Well, the thing is, you see, the word is that your Uncle Bane, our king, his long sickness was caused by poison."
Poison in the House of Dale?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know who might be able to poison such a person as a king, but it would have to be someone close by. Oh, have we lost a Dan?
No, he's still there. He's just gone screen off.
Let me scoot him around, though, because he's in the wrong screen now.
Oh no!
We've only swapped Dan's, though, so, you know, it's... it's
no one will
alright.
notice, and it's
Yeah, no, we can just pretend.
It's true.
Ildir might pass a roll.
fine. Then we'll know.
I shall take over his character sheet.
No, yeah. Poison, that's the rumours. And then there's that business with Brand. I mean, the two might... Well, I shouldn't speak of such things.
What's the news of my nephew? We'd heard he was leading troops by the river fork. That's the last I heard.
Well, word has reached us so far is that that campaign went ill, and he, along with many Barding soldiers, was slain at the fork between the River Running and the Carnon. But I'm sure all will turn out right in the end.
Who were they fighting?
Marauders, they say, from down south. Wait, now there are two Dans. There's too many Dans.
Harley Danny.
There's three Dans, should I say?
First it's
There's
the
two
rolls,
Dan
and now it's the
ends.
bloody tech.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still technically. Oh, there we are.
Ah, there we go. Right, now I just have to swap the Dans. There. And everyone's back
No, he
in
can
the
have my
right
shit dice
place. Yeah.
Put him back.
I'll take over
Put him
Athildir.
back. I'll play the ranger. It'll be a swap. He's better at elves anyway.
Not real elves. He plays those
I mean, you
wonky
realise...
Warhammer elves, doesn't he? Elves.
You realise, Dan, if we swap you and you take over Astanon, who's currently holding the Noldor blade, I'll just make you roll insight again.
Yeah, but I actually have insight.
Yeah, oh, well.
Astronaut actually has insight.
Yeah, but
no
other Dan's
guarantee.
rolling, so he'll fail and stab the elf.
So yeah, that's the word you pick up from Frida and On.
That's not good. I don't like the way they're outlined in red either. Only bad guys are outlined in red. They're trying to murder us in our sleep.
I mean, it's the standard outline. I hope they don't murder you in your sleep, but you know, you can never tell on the road to Dale. No, they invite you in, and basically after about 10 minutes of you sitting down and receiving whatever qualifies for a jug of wine amongst them, and water and food, half the village starts flooding in, bringing gifts of food and
Hobbit must be living his best life right now.
That's a very happy Hobbit.
pretty much anything they can think to bring with them.
I mean, he's like stuffing food anywhere he can hide it to bring it along on the journey.
I'll do that thing where you wander around and like touch everybody's shoulder and tell them what a
Yeah,
good job
yeah.
they're doing,
Yeah.
even if you don't know what the job is or how they do it.
Astanon will have already made his excuses to be either in the corner or not even in the room at all,
Yeah.
probably smoking a pipe or something. Foreboding,
Slowly,
hood up, glowing.
slowly hugging the Noldor blade.
No,
See,
absolutely.
I would
not.
like to try and get a wider opinion base to see if there's anything that can back up what this lady said.
Yeah, sure. You can play the crowd for that.
Yeah, do a bit of a mingle.
Yeah. What are you
Grouse.
rolling on?
Oh, there's no crowd.
Hunting. No?
Hunting.
What about in Harton?
What about
in
insight?
Harton, if you want to cheer him up, you could go with insight. Yeah.
Insight, because I kind of want to get
Definitely.
to the root of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think I will spend a height point on this.
It was a hope point. Well spent, I think. No, probably did all right. But that is a success. What you pick up is that this seems to be the popular belief in the village. Not so much the poisoning, but almost to the extent that it feels like Frida and Arn have probably tried to make sure that those rumours didn't spread. However, news of Bran's defeat and the death that told that the Barding soldiers suffered in battle apparently came from one of the sons of one of the Southernly farmers who heard it from a traveller who was heading north.
Who heard
Who
it
heard it from?
Gandhi?
Who heard it from?
Who
yeah.
heard it from? Yeah, possibly.
I have a horrible
if you go
feeling
back
that
to...
we've been worm-tongued. So yeah, I will make my rounds through the crowd, thanking everybody for their gifts, pressing the flesh, kissing babies, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Everyone seems suitably blessed. Yeah. In general, there's a slight undercurrent of fear, though no one seems to be intending on actually fleeing the village. But they are sort of half expecting to see marauders along the road at some point.
Oh, should I make a speech? I could enhearten them, couldn't I?
If you want.
Better enhearten
We'll
them.
see what the rest are up to first, though. What are Afildir, Astanon, and Robin Burrows doing?
We're sitting out on the
Eating.
porch.
Just smoking and eating.
Smoking, eating, drinking, and enjoying being somewhere safe, dry, and warm.
Filder's looking through his pack, going, "Where did I put my sword?"
I'll probably be trying to, be friendly with all the locals and everything as well.
You
if they
got
want
to
to talk
sing
about
that
it.
Green Dragon song.
It's a quite good song. Also, my local pub in real life.
Cool.
You
you see
live in
yourself there?
Hobbiton.
I mean, near enough, Norfolk.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the moment I said it, I was like, oh yeah, it's Norfolk. Of course it's Hobbiton.
I mean, that's my house.
Yeah.
I mean, Astanon doesn't believe we're safe at all, and he's on the porch smoking, but being very well aware of the surrounding of the village and keeping an eye out because he doesn't believe anywhere is safe.
The night seems fairly quiet, though. It rains continuously, but other than that, there's less of an ill feel than you've had for days.
Are they happy to put us up inside, or?
Yeah, definitely. They provide you with, to the point where they're almost willing to give up their own bedrooms and things to put you up for the night. Yeah. It's not every day a Princess of Dale passes this way.
That's on top of my work computer.
We can hear you, Dan. You know I'm you.
packing all her stuff, all her board games, going everywhere.
Uh,
Cool. Yeah, so
So-
enjoy a good night's rest with a very full
Yeah.
stomach.
so, Sigrun, did you want to enhearten everyone before they all go to sleep?
I wasn't them that I was trying to enhearten. It was more the
I know,
villagers.
the villagers, yeah.
So
They're going to go to sleep at some point as well.
that's a good point. They probably will,
They have
won't
to
they?
get up in the morning and toil.
Very well.
The Wealth of Dale.
How did distinctive features work again?
So if your distinctive feature
You spend
counts in this
hope,
case, you can count as inspired, in which case you spend 1 hope, and get 2 extra dice.
Okay. Well, I'm proud and a barding, so I would like to proudly extol
Proudly
the virtues
barding.
of our people. Yeah.
Sure. What specific fear are you attempting to waylay in them?
Just the fear of unsettlement. I mean, they're probably going to be people here who are old enough to remember the time before the king.
Yeah, there's definitely a few people here that have sort of Lake Town accents that
And only
probably
2
moved
generations.
here after. Yeah,
And having the whole thing fall apart again has got to be a bit of a worry for them. So I wish to inspire them with hope that the line of Girion of Dale has not expired and that we will take care of them. Good people love Dale. Fear not, for the Bardings are a stout folk, strong of heart and far of vision.
yeah.
We will
Go
get
for
to
it.
the bottom of this, and we will find out what's caused any of our discomfort of late, and we will fix it.
It seems to have done the trick. They all, those few village elders who remembered the days back in Lake Town and the battle, well, or remembered being told about mainly the battle of the 5 armies and things like that as children. Kind of, yeah, when I was young, Dale was half what it is now, and I saw it grow during my youth to what it has become, and there's a general sense of hope amongst everyone.
Should have considered my fancy outfits as well, shouldn't I, really? I will. Oh, that one does courtesy. And that one
Well,
does
there's,
fall, so...
yeah. They seem a little less troubled than they were before, in any event.
I mean, it's probably not going to be a secret that we're coming anymore, but...
That depends. I think you'll probably travel faster than word of you travels, as word doesn't travel that fast along the river running nowadays.
It's true.
Yeah. With that, as morning breaks, they set you off on the road again with a full belly and some provisions to carry with you. They're not quite of the quality of the twice-baked honey cakes, but they'll certainly see you a good ways along the road.
Do we get a chance to recover
they
any fatigue
provide you...
from the safe night's sleep?
Cool. And everyone roll travel who has fatigue, and any success you get 1d6 plus your number of 6s back.
Teach me.
Oh, we got a 0.
Oh, thank you. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's what I wanted. So you're at 11 now. Let me just mark that down. Eye of Mordor score 11. Thank you.
Do they all still get their 1d6 back though?
No. Because they all failed.
Oh, unfortunately, I'm never getting fatigue ever. Got no
Um,
travel.
So, but what you do get is they provide you with some little boats, a couple of little boats that you could attempt to navigate up the river running with, which will see you get there a fair mite quicker.
The kind that get towed up by horses, or this that we can just get everything on and
It's sort of just, your...
row your boat. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean we have to leave the horses behind?
You could
Little-
attach the horses to them and have them sort of pull you along the bank all the way up, but that's
Can we
another
get, like,
possibility.
A big barge that we can fit the horses on as well, and someone to actually do it for us.
Yeah, roll to persuade them.
Okay. I will roll to persuade them.
Have you
and
got favoured on that?
I have not got favoured on that.
Okay. Well, you can have a bonus dice anyway, as you've inspired them all to be more hopeful in the continued existence of Dale. So
Be more hopeful, but we're going to steal your really big boat.
yeah, be
Not
more
stealing
hopeful.
it.
Also, could I borrow that barge? You mean the
Yeah,
big
yeah.
one, the only big one we have? Yeah.
Can we
that one.
pay them instead?
You can. You have treasure.
We'll just pay them.
If you leave behind one piece of treasure, they'll gladly part with their barge.
Okay. I mean, I'd say, does anybody have a spare piece of treasure? Because I've got exactly 100, and that's a nice round number. But I'm happy to spend a point of treasure.
I mean,
No,
yeah,
I
sure.
refuse to give up.
All right, there you
Yeah.
go. Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, because we had
It's
5.
100. It's such a nice number.
I mean, yeah, sure. You can have my... They can have all 5 of my rubbish treasure. I'm a ranger. I don't need treasure. I'll give them all 5 because I don't
Yeah.
know how to barter.
They look at you with wide eyes, and by the time you get to the barge, with a bargeman to take you up the river running, it's also laden with like sheepskins and just a variety of barrels full of grain and things. Anything they could think of to give you for this massive fortune you've given their village.
Astanon doesn't quite know what to do with this.
You
so-
didn't know how much that was worth, did you? Didn't think that one through.
Well, Sigrid, I live in woods most of the time,
Well,
off the sweat of
at
my
least
own
you've got
back.
these sheepskins to keep you warm now.
Well, yes, they could be useful. Might be quite nice to plump out my bedroll.
That's not a bad plan.
Just gonna add the old Barding village there then, and yeah, you can set off down the river running. So who's on map duty? As you have a bargeman, it's favoured.
Yay.
I'm going to say, we're
And you'll
going
get
one way up
really,
a river.
really
If you get us lost, you're doing a bad job.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the one. This is the one that Ben fails tonight. It gives us a double
I
sour. roll.
mean, you could end up going to the mountains.
So when
of
it's favoured, I
Mirkwood
put
if you go the wrong
An
way at the
extra
bend.
D12.
I just
Yeah.
click the feet dice thing, don't I?
Yep. There we go.
There we go. It's
That's
that way.
a success.
It's like getting lost driving a train.
Um,
There's only 2 ways to go.
yeah. By evening of that day, I'm not even going to make you roll for an event of that. Maybe day. Well, by the evening of the next day, you find yourself at Escaroff at Lake Town, which has long been rebuilt, and the bargeman says, "Well, this is where I'll have to set you off. It's maybe another day's walk along to Dale, but I'll wait here for your return if you should so like. Where
No
do you want
need,
me to
good
put
man.
these all these goods?"
Sell them at the
It looks
market.
at Aston.
Sell them at the market and take the wealth back to your people. I'll keep one, please. And he wrapped up one of the sheepskins.
You truly, truly are a great and kind lord.
I'm no lord. But I thank you for your kind words.
Do you want to do anything in Lake Town? Such as, I will say, Lake Town is also going to be where your journey part of this travel ends. So you're almost at Dale, and that's just going to be a short trip. So
You should probably kick the door down on the master's house.
so-
Right, tell us everything.
it's not there anymore. Hasn't been.
You mean there isn't a dodgy statue of Stephen Fry in the?
Alas,
That would be cool.
there's a dodgy statue of Bard instead. Just sort of the statue of Stephen Fry that they've kind of carved out a little bit to make it.
I mean, there was probably enough of it to make a chiseled sort of like.
Yeah.
I was about to say that, but any statue of Stephen Fry is never dodgy.
So your fatigue is reduced by the amount of vigor that your mount has, and then you can roll travel.
How do you know how much vigor your mount has?
That would be. I will look it up. So, poor or frugal, no vigor at all. Common 1, prosperous 2, and rich or very rich 3.
So 1. Annoyingly, I'm 3 treasures off being rich.
Oh,
Should have
almost
said.
there.
Could have given you a loan instead of just giving it to a load of Bardings.
Just created the most prosperous village.
Prosperous is 90 treasure. I'm on like 87 or something.
Blimey. So yeah, reduce your fatigue with the amount provided by your mount, and then
What was that
roll
again?
travel.
For prosperous?
So
2.
rich or very rich, or wait,
Prosperous is 2.
2. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. 3 off prosperous, not rich.
I'm getting nervous. That's why I'm not sleeping well.
Seems fair.
Is that because you're next in line for the throne?
Well, yeah.
It depends.
I failed shock horror on my 1 dice.
Dan's gonna succeed at this one. I feel it. You have a
No, he
reroll,
didn't.
Dan. You
He
can
didn't.
use that.
I'm not wasting my reroll on that.
I'm not sure if, in your case, this counts as wasting your
To be honest, given
reroll.
the time, you may as well.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
might
it's
as well.
late. I imagine we're
Alright.
probably going to finish up with Lake Town as being our.
Okay.
But can you
Uh,
actually?
well,
No.
Actually, there's no point. Yeah, you'd need a 12 and a 6.
Yeah.
it can happen.
Or a Gandalf.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. There's... yeah, there is also the random Asheradel reroll that can be magically used to turn any ill favor to goodliness. I don't know.
So yeah,
So yeah,
fluffed it.
you're all pretty knackered after traveling half the breadth of what is known to you of Middle Earth.
Yeah, it was a light jog.
And Astanon sort of stretching his calves, going, could do with a bit of a run, to be honest. You're in Lake Town. You do pick up word in Lake Town that the funeral procession of Bane is leaving Dale shortly. But if you
Shortly
want
today
to do
or shortly in
anything-
the next couple of days?
Shortly, as in they've probably already left, but and they're on their way to wherever they're gonna bury Bane.
We
You
shouldn't
could
stop
meet them
then.
along the road, but you could also do something in Lake Town if you want.
Nope, we'll meet them on the road.
Traveling onwards.
If the funeral procession's already on the way, we need to catch up with that.
in that case,
Yeah.
which is probably where we'll finish it up then, based on the time. You travel out from Lake Town across the meadows and rolling hills and slowly growing craggy rock outcroppings towards Dale and beyond it, Erebor. And when you're about half a day out from Lake Town, you start to hear the toll of bells in the distance. Then after about an hour after that passes, you hear singing coming from away from the road to Dale, sort of to the side in the meadows, and you can see a large snaking procession of Bardings with at their head a big dais that they're carrying Bane upon, and at the front of it, wearing a crown around his head, you see Bara, who is Bran's younger brother and the youngest of Bane's children.
He is next in line. That's only fair. Mind you,
Wow.
at this range,
Technically, Bran should be, as far as you know, unless they're, well, if it...
oh, of course, yeah, Brand is missing, presumed missing.
Yeah. But Bara appears to already be wearing the crown of Dale.
This is definitely a worm-tongue situation.
And as the procession snakes towards you and you move towards it, you pass through a meadow of flowers and end up standing before a fairly recent tomb in which your grandfather, is it grandfather? Yeah. Bard, the first king of Dale, was buried. And seemingly they intend to inter Bane there in the same place. There's only about a handful of Barding soldiers marching with the procession. Most of it seems to be just normal people. And then some of the more elderly advisors to the king, like Dorma, you spot, who was long your uncle's favoured advisor, and he's standing next to Bara all the way.
Get down from my horse, leave it with the others, and walk down to meet them. In forward stance.
Yeah, in forward stance. Just immediately pull you
Nice.
full. Astanon, roll in. No. Ah!
He's going to fire it out of his head at me when I do the little salute.
Yeah. The procession slows to a halt before Bard's tomb, and they turn and spot you. And Dormar immediately walks over and gives you a hug and says, "Sigrund, I hadn't dreamed that you would make it in time."
They came as soon as I heard.
Well, yes, Farold spoke to the Thrushes, and we hoped to send a message, but we could not guarantee it would arrive in time.
It was received. We crossed the high pass and passed through Mirkwood. But we're here now. I'm here
Bold
now.
adventure indeed. But come, there are more important matters at the moment. We will speak of your travels afterwards. And he leads you all to the procession to join Bane, King of Dale's funeral, and the confirmation of Bara as the new King of Dale. And with that, we'll leave you in the meadows outside of Dale until next week, when we return with the Ballad of Bardings And there's actual Bardings in it now as well. Plural. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching at home, and thank you to my wonderful players again for getting into the spirit of Middle-earth as ever and trying to slay elves.
Trying to roll dice.
Yeah. Trying to roll dice is half of the One Ring. I feel like there's a high number of failures in
It is
rolls.
a difficult thing. You really do have to specialize. So word to the wise, if you're playing the One Ring, be a specialist. Don't go outside of your specialization.
Build a fellowship of specialists. There you go. What else is coming up on Garblag between now and the next Ballad of Bardings?
Tuesday, Coriolis. Wednesday, Deathwatch. And then back here, because I don't think there's anything happening on Garblag North America at the minute.
No, but if you are on North American times, I know there is plenty happening over on the Lollygaggers channel.
That is very
That's
true.
true.
Yeah.
Including, I'm not sure if they've finished now, but they were running the One Ring as well, which they have been doing for a very long time, and there's hundreds now. There's about 50, 60 episodes, I think.
Wow,
They've
that's a long time.
really gotten a good campaign going. So I think we'll leave you with that, and I will say good night to everyone and probably go to bed because I have to go to work in the morning, unfortunately. Right. Good night from us. Bye.